From Vancouver to Halifax, Flin Flon to Estevan, he's covering everything that matters to you. It's the Rod Pedersen Show.
Good morning, Canada. Canadian sports fans around the world, welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show. On this Thursday, March the 26th, it's episode number 201 of Canada's morning sports show. I am Rod Pedersen, the host of the program. Darren DuPont is with me here in the bunkers. We get rolling with a rollout for Flooring Superstore. Darren, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. I've had better days.
Any particular reason?
Yeah, I got to wear socks now.
Maybe more than just ankle socks. From the start of the show, can we get a camera on Darren's ankles? And I understand there's a lot of people listening, but you were told by the safety guy, which we had a 20-minute safety presentation this morning, that you, kid, need to wear socks. Because if somebody coughs on your leg...
Well, coughs on my leg, but more importantly, it can be picked up on your shoes, go inside your feet, and then it's on your toes.
That's what it is.
And it's just like your hands, but we're not washing our feet 10, 15 times a day like we are our hands.
Yeah.
So... for the foreseeable future, I have to wear socks.
Our safety guy, and look, folks, just as we launch the show right at the start, we're going to talk about the not fun stuff. Then we'll get into sports and try and divert everybody's attention for the next 2 hours. Cool?
Cool.
He's something of a Nazi. He said it's okay to call me an a-hole. If I haven't been called an a-hole daily, I haven't been doing my job. So he's a bit of a hard ass. Fair?
Yeah.
He's going to be with us later on in the program to talk about maybe how you could help yourself with the coronavirus and safety and so forth. But we went through a 20-minute presentation this morning from him. That's what's allowing us to stay on the air, everybody, okay? We have a small staff. I don't think I'm going to go through and read what he gave me here, because that would be snooze material.
Yeah.
He'll come back later, okay? And he'll do it himself because he's the professional. So I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to say we're following all safety guidelines. We have a small staff here, and we're here to try and entertain you on a daily basis. Thanks for joining us for coffee, by the way, Caliber Coffee. And as Roddy White says as he writes in, dupes, don't touch your face with your feet. Can you do that?
Yeah. I think
Were we in a yoga class one time when you touched your face with your feet? Darren and I did a yoga class on the banks of the South Saskatchewan River in Saskatoon, and the yoga instructor started crying. He started crying.
Yeah, he did.
I'm like, oh, this guy is in tune with the universe. What kind of thing did you bring me to here? Anyways, before I get to my Elite 8 show topics today and our guest list, I got to just say this. Pats fans are so excited. I'm wearing a Pats pullover today, one of my favorite Under Armour Pats pullovers. I will just puff my chest out a little bit and say I've long trusted John Paddock, even though the team's been in the dumpster the last couple of years. I said the guy knows what he's doing. And now the Pats are going to be front page news for the next 15, 16, 17, 18, at least the next 3 to 4 years with Connor Bedard as the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
So he's in my topics here, but I'm just saying I'm excited because there's not a lot. I can count on one hand the guys that I can chat Pats hockey with in this town. Sorry to say.
Yeah.
Jason Baker, my buddy Bakes, Jared Dumba, probably his dad Al, and I'm starting to get stumped here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just with my inner circle. My brothers notwithstanding, that's all they want to talk about is Pats hockey when we get together. But, hey, they're going to be front page news. Lineups for tickets again. That's coming.
Yeah.
Happy days are here again. For Moose Jaw, I feel bad for Moose Jaw because they're just going to go, it's another dark cloud over the city thing. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's not the current Warrior regime. That's just since 1984. It hasn't gone that well. So feeling very lucky as a Pats fan. And who does Connor Bedard think he is, by the way, blowing us off for Gino Reda and TSN? What the hell's that all about?
I know.
I'm joking, of course, over here. I'm teasing, sort of. What do they say, the Bedards? That he's going to come on, right? Yeah. TSN apparently is a priority. So you can continue to talk in my ear, Clark. That's cool. Producer Clark, he's moved his workstation to what should I say? Observe social distancing, safety. Normally, him and Jordan are side by side on the other side of this wall. Clark's now out here in the fracas.
Yeah.
So don't yell at me from across the room. You can still talk in my ear. That would make me feel safe. Coming up on the program today, Shane Knighty. And boy, do I got something for Knighty. He is the Vegas Golden Knights television color commentator. Known him since he was 18 and I was 20. That's how far back we go. Long ways. I can't wait to see Knights from Vegas. Sammy Cosentino from Rogers Sportsnet will be with us, which a lot of you won't remember. He was the voice of the Montreal Expos on Score Television way, way, way back in the day. There's a bit of a karmic tie-in here. Because Sammy, of course, you know him as the CHL prospect guy, right?
Right.
CHL on Sportsnet. But he also broadcast Expos games on the Score way back from Olympic Stadium back in the day. And later on, Danny Gallagher is going to join us, an author, formerly of the Regina Leader-Post, but he's been all over. You noticed that, Clark? Tweeting, hey, my appearance coming up. Join me on the Rod Pedersen Show, which is awesome. Thank you, Danny. I have lost track of the guy since the 80s when he wrote for the Regina Leader-Post. I Googled him this morning. He's got 6 books out. They're all available at Chapters Indigo, and over half of them are on the Expos. So the guy kind of knows his stuff.
I would say.
So Sammy will be with us, Danny Gallagher, and then the great Kevin Gallant. My mentor in this broadcast industry, the reason I'm in it's because of Kevin Gallant. Former voice of the Pats, the Calgary Stampeders, the San Francisco Spiders, and the Las Vegas Thunder. Kevy will be with us to talk about mostly Connor Bedard, but whatever comes up. So to our Elite 8 show topics. This is where I want to start. Because we're in the breadbasket, the heartland of the CFL, a lot of people are talking about the Canadian Football League season for 2020 and will there be a season? You and I both voted for yes.
Yes.
A lot of the, I guess people that aren't that positive are voting for no. But our poll question today relates to point 1 for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. What's the minimum amount of games that would preserve the integrity of the CFL? 8, 10, 12, or 14? I'm really of the mindset that they're not going to shorten the season at all. That's just a feeling, not any knowledge whatsoever. But let's just say they had to shorten it. What would be the minimum amount that they could get a season in that would not be a joke? But off the top of your head, what would you say?
12.
Okay, I thought 12 too.
You did. Okay.
But then I thought, hey, 8 works for junior football. 8 works for youth sports football. 8 works for NCAA. At the very least, I could go with 8.
You could.
Could you go with 8? We're going to find out on the poll. You can vote on Facebook. You can vote on Twitter. 8 games, 10 games, 12, or 14. Have I convinced you to drop to 8, or are you staying at 12?
Well, you have a little bit because it's true, but they're playing in 4-team conferences or 5-team conferences, or some are playing high. I guess in the O, and Canada West has more than 4 teams, but. Yeah, I don't know. 12 seems in the CFL for me just simply 2/3 of the season. That seems to be when things separate, right? When you know who the contenders and the pretenders are in the CFL at 12 games. I like 12, but yeah, you know what? In terms of not being a joke, 8 to 10 games, yeah, I could see that being okay.
Thank you.
You can't go less than that.
Thanks for allowing me to bend your mind a little bit.
You're welcome.
From our social media guru, Tyler Dacu says, John, I'm just going to jump back to the comments. John Paddock's playing chess while the rest of the junior hockey world is playing checkers. I was a little hesitant when the Pats hired John Paddock because I thought he's been in the NHL and AHL since the 70s. What the hell does he know about junior hockey? It's different. What the hell do I know? He rolls in here, takes him to the league final for the first time since 1984. I'm all in. I'm all in with John. He knows that. It's been a couple crappy years since the Memorial Cup, but I had faith. I knew why. Everybody running around this town like their hair's on fire with wanting to fire the coach. I'm like, could you just... That's just the way the people are here, right? They're damaged, sports-wise.
Yep.
So as far as the hockey goes, they're not with the football anymore, but I have faith in John. And it's really nice when the people that you have faith in come through. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting to.
That's a bonus.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Switching my points here, I'll make this point too. How would a shortened season affect business? And I don't mean dollars and cents at the gate or so forth. I mean the football business. Because if it was 8 games, let's just have some fun and say it's an 8-game regular season. It's wide open, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's in it right to the end. Wow. Not like BC and Toronto last year that are out of it by Labor Day.
Every game means so much more.
Could you imagine?
Think about, you can run guys into the ground.
And some would.
Right?
Some would.
You talk about, load management and, limiting carries and making sure they stay healthy for an 18-game season and playoffs. You can run them into the ground.
Stop. From the business manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, he says, not sure. Michael Sissons, Mr. Sizz writes in, he says, I'm not sure Hunsey's playing checkers in PA. I'm just reading what the quote is, Sizz. And we do have the Raiders bobblehead here, so we're very in tune with what's going on. Somebody's offended. We might have set a new record for offending somebody today. How long have we been on the air?
10 minutes. 10
minutes? Just how would it affect football business? We could spend the whole day on that. Mm-hmm. We could. Still not thinking that we're going to run out of things to talk about. And by the way, this is very similar to the National Football League. Let's just say they drop to an 8 games and they're going to kick off at Labor Day and they make that decision by tomorrow. We can spend the next 3 months talking about the ramifications and possibilities. We actually could.
And that wouldn't be so bad. Could you imagine, and we'll save a lot of this for later, but can you imagine Labor Day being the opening week of the CFL season? That'd be incredible.
There you go. Point 3. Is it fair to hold the draft? Arash Madani brought up a really good point on the program yesterday, that the GMs and the head scouts and so forth would feel rushed right now because they haven't had the combines. They haven't had the opportunity to do one-on-one meetings. So they can't have the draft because the GMs would be too rushed. You see, the NHL's pushed everything back, right? Which is coming up in my sports update, the draft, the awards and so forth. My take is, I'm sorry, I've been around those guys my whole life. I get that they're upset and they would feel rushed. Guess what? Look what we're doing. Our producer's working out here on a freaking massage table like everybody's making do. Guys, can you give us a solid here? Maybe just this 1 year? You don't know every single detail of the timed bowel movements of this prospect from Western. Can you just help us out a little?
But you know how big it is. And how
for 1 year.
And how
everybody's out of their comfort zone.
I know. Everybody's out, and that's true. And so you're all playing on an even playing field. But these picks are so important to business and legacy and everything else. I mean, we talked about, look at, you draft Peyton Manning 1, you get statues outside the stadium, you go down in the Hall of Fame, you got this legacy forever, and you ride off into the sunset. You draft Ryan Leaf number 2, and you get fired. You lose your job. That's how critical, draft selections are.
Well, everything we do is critical. Sorry, it's not brain science. I'm sorry.
But everybody's playing on the same field.
Yes.
So there's that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, could they see it the way everybody else is looking at it right now?
Everybody's got to play in those circumstances.
No, everybody in the world.
Everybody.
is out of their comfort zone. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
So we could spend more time on that too. Rolling along here. Randy, I will get your comment coming up. Randy Nickel in Cochrane about the NHL. Brian Warish into the BC Lions podcast. And I'm just going to do a live shout-out since I know he's watching. Brian, thank you. I was going to put this on my Instagram. I'll do it now. Brian Warish in BC Lions Den podcast sent us these shirts for our entire staff, and I know you can't see them, those that are listening at rodpeterson.com, listen live, but it says, the BCLionsDen.ca podcast since 2013. Brian, thank you. Heart you, brother. Orange heart.
Was it the Lions?
For our whole staff.
Was it the Lions Den who deemed us an essential service?
Yes.
And we got to stay on the air.
The Lions Den podcast staff has deemed this show essential service. Nobody else has. But thank you, Brian, for the comment and the shirts, and we'll be wearing them on the show once it warms up, if it's ever going to warm up.
Today might be a start.
Where was I? Tyler Dacu, our social media guru, says, what does Smitty say? What does Craig Smith have to say? Craig Smith is one of them. What do you think he's going to say? And by the way, my dad was a career scout. I'm not trashing anybody here. They're going to say, oh, no, we can't draft these guys. We don't know every single move about them. We don't know every piece of their DNA. Smitty's going to be like one of those guys. I know what he's going to say. Flooring Superstore, did I mention that? Flooring Superstore is bringing you the Rollout, which is what we're in right now. We're going to get our flooring done as soon as this lifts. Trent, I know you're watching right now at home from Flooring Superstore. I saw Trump yesterday saying, hey, this is going to end sooner than later, and when it does, it's going to take off like a rocket, I tell you. It's going to take off like a rocket. Point 4, the CFL foot bounce challenge yesterday. You think you were surprised. How about me that Nick Arbuckle would call me out to bounce the football as many times as I can on the floor within 15 seconds? Thanks for filming it, and thanks to our staff for counting.
It was great. I couldn't believe it. And then you kind of got us all shocked at the end when you called out Bo Levi. We're wondering, okay, well, we'll figure it out at the end, and you'll tag who you're going to challenge, maybe other guys in the media or
one guy.
Players. But like he shouts out at the end and then slams the ball 100 miles an hour into my chest. That's awesome. That was funny.
I was aiming for your nuts. I called out Bo Levi Mitchell for the foot bounce challenge. Where are you, Bo? Hello? Wiki. Why is Bo waiting? I thought if I called him out, he's got to do it now. It's a challenge. Or maybe not.
Maybe not.
Moving on. Denise Wozniacki Peter writes in. She says, you are my essential service. 2 hours to think about something else. Keep up the great mental break. I love it. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Point 5. Why is everybody talking about Tiger King on Netflix? Why? Can you tell me why?
Haven't seen
You wouldn't know because you haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it, but I've seen people talking about it. People say it's great. I thought it was going to be this majestic documentary about tigers in the jungle, maybe in China or Asia or somewhere. It's not like that at all, right? I see the trailer. Clark's back here because he's watched it. He says it's good. This guy's got like a crew cut, looks like Joe Dirt, right? And
is it acting or are they real?
It's more real.
It's more real. Okay.
More real.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking it's going to be a spoof. I'm like, this just doesn't seem like something I'd be into. But everybody keeps saying how great it is. So I'm going to have to give it a shot.
Tiger King on Netflix. I'll give it a try too. Brandon Crow, the voice of the Brandon Wheat Kings, is watching. And he says, can the CFL and their respective teams afford to have a lost season? That's a question more for them than us. But because it's a coffee get-together, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. The question, can they afford it? I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. Frankly, the biggest enemy we're all facing right now is our own minds and the what-if game and getting worked up and all the different scenarios. The leaders can worry about those things. I don't see any point in us worrying about those things.
Right. And that it's going to be the biggest thing is once we kind of flatten this curve and now get on the downward slope, what does normal behavior look like? Who's the mayor of New York during 9/11? Rudy Giuliani. Mm-hmm. He comes out and says, the only way that your children aren't going to be scared is if you're not afraid. The only way, so, those trips you had planned, take them. Those trips for work, get on the planes, take them. We can't be scared. We got to go back. So people are going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid to communicate with other people, to go to the grocery store, to go on airplanes, to do all those things. But once we flatten the curve, that'll be interesting to see if we flock to stadiums and do all these public things right away. The CFL, it's important that they get back to playing football for sure.
I know that we're going to run out of time in this opening segment. We're not going to get all of my Elite 8 show topics in. And by the way, that's fine because our first guest isn't coming up for another 25 minutes, and that's Shane Knighty of the Vegas Golden Knights broadcast crew. So we can take a break and come back with this. I will say this. Jack Fulton's watching from Calgary. He says, what we focus on is what we give our power to. We need to clear our minds off of the negativity. Watch Nick Lewis. Watch the RP show. Mental and emotional therapy. It's all in your hands. It's a choice. Thank you, Jack. I agree. And I'll say this. I mentioned how I was a little upset yesterday that I'm hearing from more affluent people that their biggest problem is boredom. As my wife says to me, she's like, calm down, Rod. They're not used to it either. They're in a new place too. And so that's all true because I tend to deal with the worst situations.
Right.
And try to help those people. But my phone rang last night. I was doing the dishes, believe it or not, and it was Clint Malarchuk calling from Reno, Nevada. We talked for an hour, and if anybody knows Clint, this would not surprise you when he goes, man, you and I could really ring up a phone bill. He said. And what Clint said, as a guy who's faced death 3 times and survived, not the least of which is putting a .22 caliber bullet right through his skull, and it's still lodged in his cranium. There you go. He made a list of 5 guys to call every day through this. And I was on his list, 3 Army guys, and I can't remember who the other guy was. It's not hard, is it?
No.
Call your friends. Reach out. Isolate, but don't isolate. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I can't really remember what my point was on that other than things can always be worse. So we're going to take a break. I'll say this from Glenn Trafford. He's a car sales buddy of mine. Glenn Trafford, where are you hanging your hat now, Glenn? Last I heard he was in Winnipeg. He says, I completely agree, Roddy. We should concentrate on being kind to each other. We can control this thing in no way at all. Keep ourselves safe. Oh, that's what it was on Milarchuk. This is what our phone conversation was like. What do you think the two of us were like talking to each other on the phone? 2 squirrels.
I can only imagine.
We were like all over the place. We're reminding each other. Anyways, I sit at home and I watch Trump's news conferences. And the biggest reason is he's just like, to all the media, it's hilarious. It's like, try to follow along, you know. This is the president. This is live TV. I can't get enough of it. And then I just said to Milarchuk, where you live, Reno, Nevada, cowboy country. I said, what do they think of Trump down there? And he said, what do you think they think of Trump? They love him. And Clint's doing a lot of work with soldiers with PTSD, sort of like what Theo said the other day. He goes, the military loves him. The people that he deals with loves him because he's made a better deal for veterans in America. Anyways, enough about that. I got to get to hockey, which I haven't yet. I got more things to get to. So we'll just pause the discussion. Back with a sports update in a moment. It's the Rod Pedersen Show, Facebook Live, coming this spring to Game Plus TV. And listen live at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.